Hi, hello. Welcome to the episode of Isaiah's Newsstand. It's your host, Isaiah Edwards. The date is February the 22nd, 2024. Hopefully, this episode finds you well in good spirits and high hopes. As for me, I'm doing pretty good. It was a rainy day, but not so rainy that it leaked into my trash compactor, so that's perfect. Can't complain about that. Let's see. Like I said, overall work was fine. And food corner last night, I did eat again. I had a very strange, almost scran like salad, but it was essentially a salad, and then I added some fried pieces of salmon that I cooked up. I just randomly got like some sockeye salmon, and I just got really weird with it, and then I had bacon on it too. So yeah, I mean, it was a funky little salad. And but really that wasn't the main entree. Like, it was the main entree, sure. But I had went out last week, and when I was at the grocery store last, and I had gotten the box of the Cheddar Bay biscuits from Red Lobster. And hopefully you've had the actual thing, the real McCoy, the Cheddar Bay biscuits from the source, Red Lobster, because they're really good. They're worth it. I will say everything else on the menu is kind of not worth it. You know what I mean? But hey, if you can get in on endless shrimp, on that kind of time, that season, and then get some Cheddar Bay biscuits, you're in luck. That's a good time. But that being said, I'm too cheap, so I often just make them at home, and I'm very happy and satisfied with that. So this is what I decided to do for yesterday, and yeah, it was a good little meal. I enjoyed it. So yeah, there really isn't anything else to really report on the food corner. I will say this. I like I'm like fiending smoked wings right now. Oh, fiending smoked wings so bad. I'm actually gonna do a little signal post. If you are a local listener and you know any good spots around the Cincinnati area that are like, yo, go here if you haven't gone here for a smoked wing, Isaiah. It will blow your wig back because I need that. I realize like I need that. I got a couple of those little wings the other day, and I'm like, yo, I need to get back on the crack. It's so bad that I literally like appeased myself by going and getting a bag of Grippos just so I could get that kind of like sweet, like barbecuey flavor. I need it. I just want to snort a line of that shit. Anyway, enough gabbing about food and my life. Let me go ahead and do my startup, and then we will get into the news. Do 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 do. Ooh, I will say another dub actually before we get into the news. And I always love this. I don't care how vain this makes me. It's just me being real. A coworker, a homie, randomly like pulled me over, and they complimented me and said, "Hey, man, are you losing weight?" And just shit like that. Like, even when I wasn't losing weight, and even now, I think in my head I can still do this where I'm like, oh, I'm still fat as fuck actually, and like I burnt it down or condensed it down to being like, oh yeah, jokey joke, yeah, thank you, but really that made my day. It was really nice. I always like when friends, coworkers, whoever, I don't care, they go, hey, look at you. It looks like you're losing a little bit of LBs. Nice. Because that's big ups for me, because it's truly something I think about week to week. Damn near, if I'm being real, every day I think about my weight at least once, you know what I mean? And then I like wolf down some fucking food that I shouldn't or whatever, or I don't work out enough. But it's nice when people notice, your progress, because I really have been working hard since last summer. So, I had to put that out there. Anyway, so yeah, if you want to give me a compliment, by all means, I won't be mad. Okay, all right. Enough gabbing, enough bullshit. Let's get into the real stuff. From ABC News, Oklahoma police say non binary teen's death was not result of injuries from high school fight. A 16-year-old Oklahoma high school student who died a day after an altercation in a high school restroom in a school restroom that may have been prompted by bullying over gender identity did not die as a result of injuries sustained in the fight, police said Wednesday. Police in the suburban Tulsa community of Owasso are investigating the death of 16-year-old Nex Benedict, whose family said identified as non-binary and used they, them pronouns. So naturally, I'm going to try to do that. If I fuck up, I'm sorry, but, do that for sure. Although the cause of death has not been determined, Owasso police said in a statement, preliminary autopsy results indicate the teen did not die as a result of injuries sustained in the fight. So, Ari, I want to stop here, and I don't want to call bullshit, because at the end of the day, I'm not there. I didn't watch this shit, you know what I mean? I'm not a cold case worker, and I have that kind of like cool memory where you can do the flashback, and I'm just there with my rat-ass hair. If you know what I'm talking about, then you know. But at the end of the day, I can only go off of the information that I'm given. I believe that there was an altercation that takes place in a bathroom, in school. It's about 2 minutes, and it said that all parties were able to walk away. Both parties were able to walk away. Next, they were able to walk away. The people that were trying to fight or assault, I don't really know. There's so many things that it's just like it's just being vague in the sense of just saying like, oh yeah, there was it's almost like there was a bit of scuffle, and then next thing you know, Nex Benedict winds up going to the hospital covered in bruises, at least according to the mom, Sue Benedict, and they wind up passing away. But yet the police are saying, oh no, this wasn't as a result of that. And I'm finding hard squaring that. I don't know how that works and adds up. Maybe get a true detective on the case and they can explain it to me, or we'll just have to really wait for more information to drop in this story. But obviously it's very sad and unfortunate, because I do feel like this was most likely over Benedict's, gender identity, because this is something that is being pumped not just throughout the state, but into the town, into the school. Like, they have built this in, and not just built. It's crazy that like this kind of shit is so institutionalized that they want to grab these people like the libs of TikTok. I think Chaya Raychek winds up becoming a librarian, or not librarian at the school, but like an overseer to the library in terms of like what is actual material for the kids and shit like that. And I just hate that this narrative is just being pumped like so thoroughly everywhere throughout the United States. And then it's also getting exported, I feel like, to other countries and other places where it's just like, yeah, this is exactly how we actually parent and teach our children, is that we restrict these things for them. We make it seem scary and bad, like it's going to corrupt them if they open the pages and read these things. If they speak these truths and have these expressions of identity, they're going to corrupt not only themselves, but like the students around them. So we have to like suppress this shit. We have to make sure that like the bathrooms are for the boys and the bathrooms are for the girls, and we don't mix in. We can't do that because we're just going to have a problem. It's going to make things bad. And I do feel like these things lead to this. Like, it becomes an inevitable conclusion, because what do these kids see? They see this shit from the parents. They see this shit from the staff, the student, and it just trickles around and down. So I do feel like something like this is a bit inevitable. And yes, am I going to blame the schools? Am I going to blame the fucking policies? Yeah, the fuck I am, dude. And I do feel like they're going to try to do their best to kind of no, this wasn't that at all. This was just like a boys being boys, or, kids being kids thing. And it's like, no, dude, clearly this was not that. I think there's going to be, when you actually dig into this shit, there's going to be more there. But who knows? I don't know if we are going to get to the heart of this. I know this is something that kind of just dropped this week. Let's see here. Is there anything else I wanted to pull? I know, Sue Benedict said in a statement on a GoFundMe page set up to help cover funeral expenses that the family was still learning how to use the teen's preferred name and pronouns. Please do not judge us as Nex was judged. Excuse me. Please do not bully us for our ignorance on the subject, she wrote. Nex gave us respect, and we are sorry in our grief that we overlooked them. So yeah, I mean, I can imagine that the family is just going through a lot, grappling with a lot right now. Also, I'm sure the fact that this is taking a media spotlight only makes this kind of situation worse, because sure, hopefully you're having people sending their condolences and well-wishing and helping, supporting, but you're also going to have people who are saying like, no, your child, and I'm sure they're not you. They're gonna try to misgender and do the worst kind of things they fucking can. It was a problem, and whatever happened, they deserve. Like, I guarantee you that people are typing and sending this kind of fucking hate mail and this kind of shit, because sadly that is a problem with the internet. Is that, like, we just all have too much access, and we take all this information, we let it fucking rot our brains, and instead of making educated, nice, wholesome decisions as people, as a society, we often just want to dig in the muck and be the worst little piggies we can be, for whatever, newfangled ideology that we want to fucking support today or whatever. But that being said, I saw this story, and I was just like, should I cover it? Should I not cover it? And I feel like this is totally something that's up your alley, but to segue a bit, I had missed a story that was kind of similar to this, I want to say around November of last year, and that's what kind of made me go, oh, well, like, it's fucked up that I'm going to cover this, because I know it's like a very hot button issue, but for some reason, Isaiah, you didn't cover, about a whole Las Vegas teen dying, and we can get into this, and so I want to kind of get in the time machine and go back to November of last year, and we'll chop it up a bit. So let's do that. From I want to say this is NBC News, newsnow.com, some Las Vegas subsidiary or whatever the fuck. Anyway, Las Vegas teens accused in beating death of classmate claim self-defense. 4 of 9 teens accused in the deadly beating of a classmate did not receive bail as expected during a court hearing Thursday morning. Initially, Las Vegas Justice Court Judge Nadia Woods planned to issue a bond for each defendant. The state was asking for $250K bond for each defendant, but the defense attorneys argued against that. Damian Hernandez, Gianni Robinson, Dontrell Beaver, and Travion Randolph face second-degree murder charges in the death of 17-year-old Jonathan Lewis, who prosecutors said was attacked during a fight on November 1st over some stolen items by a group of teens who deliberately stomped on Lewis's head. The Rancho high school student died from blunt force trauma to his head and body, the coroner said. Defense attorneys for the defendants argued a $250K bail was not fair because some of the defendants kicked or hit Lewis more or less times than other defendants, and the bail amount should reflect that. I couldn't imagine being a defense attorney and having like the ice in your veins to like say that sentence, because that's a very hard sentence to grapple with and then utter. And I understand it. You're doing your job. You got to do this shit. But it's like, I'm telling you, Your Honor, that like my defendant only bludgeoned the victim so many times. So like maybe they should have like a bail that reflects that, because that like I said, ice in veins to Jesus. That's crazy. Now there is a bit of, what the 4 teens are, saying what the defense is. I wanted to read that. The 4 teens are claiming self-defense because Lewis threw the first punch, and a friend of Lewis's allegedly had a knife, according to the defense attorneys. Although the prosecutor conceded Lewis threw the first punch, the prosecutor added that the punch didn't warrant the violent attack that Lewis suffered. The prosecutor said 6 videos show the fight and will likely be used as evidence. I believe that even though these defendants are being held as juveniles, they are going to be charged as adults. And that's something that I feel like is important to note, because like going back to the story we just covered about Benedict, if I'm just going to shoot from the hip here and speculate, I highly doubt that they're going to press any criminal charges in that situation. You know what I mean? And I don't know the ethnicity or anything like that in terms of like the people involved. But it bums me out, it bugs me, it bothers me, and it always will when I see brown teens in a situation where it's like, oh no, we're going to treat them like they are adults, like they're just full-fledged criminals. But in this other situation, we're saying, look, okay, first and foremost, we're standing up to bullying, okay? We're about being anti-bullying, all right? And that didn't happen, yada, yada, yada. But meanwhile, it's like, it does kind of seem like these kids beat another kid to death in the same kind of way, and I highly doubt it. But the kid walked away, and once again, police are saying that's not a murder. He didn't die from those. They didn't die from those charges or from the wounds afflicted. I don't know, man. It just seems like that's not the same hand being used. The scales aren't balanced, in my opinion. I always feel the need to kind of address that shit when I feel like I see it. But yeah, this is something that I did personally see the story happening and unfolding a bit, and I said I should get to this, right? And I just didn't. And that happens sometimes. No matter what, as hard as I try to go, I'm always going to miss things. And that is something that I've said before. I'll say again, I'm sorry. I'm doing my best. But, this is a labor of love and I can only do so much. I got a whole other fucking real job I got to do to make the bacon. You know what I mean? But I felt like covering the Oklahoma story with Benedict, I felt like I wasn't doing justice to Lewis, knowing that whether or not he stole the stuff and he had a friend who had a knife or whatever, like that kind of doesn't fucking matter, right? Like at the end of the day, this is a story that's worth telling, it's worth talking about, it's worth giving my 2 cents on, and I simply kind of let it fall through, and I didn't want to George Bush that, you know what I mean? I want to let that fall through the cracks. So this is me trying to do my best here with that. And I'll try to, now that we're in the loop, we got our toehold in, as I like to say. If I see any more about this story, of course, I will definitely report on it, cover it in terms of like the trial stuff and all that. Obviously, same situation with Benedict. I felt like both these stories definitely were worth covering. You feel me? So, Anyway, let's move on to another update from the Business Insider and also from the Independent. So I'll read them both off in terms of the headline. Ruby Franke, sobbing at sentencing, blames child abuse on being deceived into thinking the world was evil. And from the Independent, all the abuse allegations against Ruby Franke. Now, from the Business Insider on this story, they really focused on the sentencing in terms of Franke, and then also Jodi Hildebrandt, her business partner / I don't know, it almost felt like they had like a mentor-mentee kind of relationship, or they really were just content partners, but it seemed like, Jodi kind of was like the Batman in terms of leading, like, hey, this should be this way, and then Ruby kind of would echo this and use her children as the spotlight example, if you will. But yeah, I mean, we've talked about this story before. I haven't really given too many details, and I really don't plan on giving too many now. That's kind of why I wanted to highlight both of the articles. But yeah, the disgraced mom influencer Ruby Franke was sentenced Tuesday to 4 to 60 years in prison after the mother of six pleaded guilty, along with her associate, to abusing 2 of her children. Neither woman is set to serve more than 30 years in prison, as Utah law prohibits consecutive sentences exceeding that. Let's see here. A lot of this, from the Business Insider side of it, is her pleading her case, saying that she was deceived and she was led to believe that the world was just such an evil place. I'll read a quote here. I was led to believe that this world was an evil place, filled with cops who control, hospitals that injure, government agencies that brainwash, church leaders who lie and lust, husbands who refuse to protect, and children who need abuse, Franke said. And it's that's crazy to me that you say this kind of sentence like you're a lamb being led astray here. Because I feel like that's kind of what she's trying to do here, is say, hey, look, I fucked up. But it's almost like she's trying to be but I'm a victim too. Jodi just kind of told me what to do, and I just believed her. No, dude. At the end of the day, these are your children. This is your family. It's also crazy too. I like that kind of shifting over to the Independent. They do talk about the husband and how it's he says, hey, I didn't know what was happening. Yeah, all of my children were being abused and more or less tortured and tormented over the seemingly the most little things, oh, you forgot your lunch, so yeah, I can't pay for you to eat at school. No, you have to learn your lesson. Or oh, you did something wrong. You have to jump over a cactus. What the fuck? What kind of you have to be deranged to think of that kind of shit. Making your kid walk around with no shoes and a hot dirt road or some shit, or whatever. These are the kind of things that are just you have to have something kind of chipped or broken here to say, oh yeah, this is a good idea. This is good parenting. This is totally gonna make my kid the future president, or Nobel Peace Prize winner, whatever. No way. obviously I'm doing a lot of condensing and summarizing down here. I definitely implore you, if you really want to get some of the gritty, they definitely give it to you in the Independent in terms of like, some of the going ons that went on in the house. I will say her channel, what is it, 8 Passengers, as well as Jody Hildebrandt's channel, whatever the fuck that was, have been, terminated. I'm sure though, if you want to Google or YouTube someone to give you a full deep dive on this, there's totally someone there. I did not feel like going down that K-hole. But by all means, I'm leading you to it at least. There it is. But yeah, to me, this is a whole ass fucking thing to unfold. I might, touch on the story again in terms of like to, say how many years they got. Maybe not. I don't know. But yeah, like crazy. I feel so bad for those kids. At the end of the day. And don't get me wrong, I get it. There's no perfect way to raise a child. You know what I mean? I'm a person who has no kids, really no prospects or ideas, and just at this point no real desire, I don't think, to have any. But I get it. It's a lot of pressure, and you want to do it right. You don't want to fuck up, and like, there's so many things that can go wrong. But at some point, like, you have to understand, like, and stop yourself saying, what am I doing? What am I even thinking here? Like, I gotta make my kids sleep on a beanbag chair for whatever reason? Like why am I letting my kids walk around malnourished? Like, on purpose? Like, to instill character? Like, this is some mother dear shit, you know what I mean? And I'm at least glad that the kids are out of the situation. Granted, it sucks that they are a part of the state now, you know what I mean? That sucks. But you gotta be a badass fucking parent, and I don't mean that in a compliment, when it's like, yeah, maybe the fucking system is actually better for your kids than you, because you're a monster. So yeah, obviously Tomato Town for both of them. I feel like Ruby Frank kind of gets a lot of it because she was kind of more the face. But like the Jody Hildebrandt, she's a whole ass fucking character, yo. Like, I would not want to be a child under her tutelage, to say the least. That sounds like a hell that I wouldn't give to my enemies. But yeah, we have one more story I wanted to cover before I let you go today. So you know what that means. It's break time. I'm going to take my break. I encourage you to take yours, whatever that may be. And then we'll come back and we'll finish this thing off. Let me close out of this. BBC, I already have an account. I don't need to register. Chill. Chill, daddy. Okay. Ooh, where's my snare? No snare in my headphones. Ooh. Ooh, a little bit of beer corner. I've been back on my tall boy shit. Whew. Drinking the worst kind of beer. Milwaukee's Best Ice. Oh yeah. Hell yeah, brother. Tastes like freedom. Midwestern freedom. Ugh. Whew. Okay, so from the BBC, Martine Moïse, wife of Haiti's murdered president, charged over his killing. So yeah, I feel like I caught the story or whiffed the story last week, and I feel like I've been so bogged down that I haven't quite got to it. And maybe I'm off on time, and maybe this is only just like a few days ago, and I just was just like, I gotta get the story, I'm missing it. But let's do a little bit of an update, because it's been a minute since we talked about the situation. A judge in Haiti has charged the widow of murdered President Jovenel Moïse in connection with the assassination of the former leader on July 7th, 2021. Martine Moïse, who was injured in the attack in which her husband was killed, is one of dozens of people charged following a 2-year investigation. According to a legal document leaked by a Haitian news site, she is accused of complicity and criminal association. Neither she nor her lawyer have so far commented on the specific charges. Miss Moïse, however, used social media in recent days to denounce unjust arrest and what she said was a never-ending persecution. It is not known where she currently lives. But yeah, let's see. I believe 51 people have been charged. A bit of a recap. The 51-year-old, the 53-year-old was shot dead, which was President Jovenel Moïse, was shot dead on July 7th, 2021 at his private residence on the outskirts of the capital at Port-au-Prince, by a group of mainly Colombian mercenaries. But it is added that America, of course, somehow we got our little fingerprints in here, because there was a few motherfuckers from Miami who were also about this coup shit or some shit, and they were involved in training and then getting involved in infiltration into this assassination attempt. And I mean, needless to say, after the thing, like after the deed was done, the whole shit just goes foobar. You have motherfuckers like trying to hide out in the fucking city and then getting caught. It's like, bro, like, what did you think was going to happen? Like, this sounds like the literal end of a Call of Duty mission that's just going to go like to absolute shit. Like, why would you try this thing? This is going to work. Like, even if it works, now what? Now you're a patsy, you fucking idiot. So that was interesting and crazy. But honestly, crazier still is that somehow now that we're years beyond this, the dust is clearing, and somehow the wife is implicated. And to me, I am very skeptical. I don't really see it. Though the defense has said that, like the suspicion launched against her is that, well, you were planning with another person who I should have their name at the ready, but I don't. Let me just read some more. As evidence against Miss Moïse, the document cites a statement given by Lionel Valbrun, who was the Secretary General at Haiti's National Palace at the time of President Moïse's murder. Valbrun alleges that Miss Moïse came to Haiti's National Palace, the official residence of the president, 2 days before the assassination. So apparently some implication that she was trying to like gather some things, and that was very suspicious. And then this happens. But let's see. According to Mr. Badio, who is another person who's accusing Moïse, let's see here. According to Mr. Badio, the First Lady conspired with the then Prime Minister Claude Joseph to remove Mr. Moïse from the presidency. The plan, Mr. Badio alleges, was for Claude Joseph to lead the country until elections were held in which Martin Moïse would run for president. And I honestly think this is them giving the game up a bit, and I think that this is really like, we're really scared that the wife of the former president could come into this vacuum, this power vacuum that we have, and we have so much instability, but maybe this person comes up and says, hey, I actually can take the reins. I can fill the void where my husband has, left, due to his death, and I can do that. And I think this is saying, hey, like, we're trying to stop you from doing that. Like, we're trying to make sure that that doesn't happen. Maybe I'm wrong. You know what I mean? This is just speculation. You can say as wild as you like, but, yeah, apparently Moïse has been charged. Claude Joseph has also been charged with conspiracy and criminal association. But let's see. I want to read a little bit more. In a statement to the Miami Herald newspaper, Mr. Joseph said that the former First Lady were being targeted by the current Prime Minister of Haiti, Ariel Henry. I believe he's like kind of in like a temporary situation, and now maybe he is like the prime minister, but like, I don't know. It seems things kind of seem fishy, but then everything in Haitian government kind of seems fishy, as is all government, really, truly. But I mean, corruption is definitely throughout here, and then you just also have the outside element of just the gang presence being so strong and so influencing on the conversation as well. There's just a lot going on in Haiti. We've covered, bits and drabs, little bits here and there. But, yeah, I mean, we don't know if this is something from, Henri's side or maybe someone else. Like, it feels like I'm coming back into this and I'm like, I feel like I've missed so much somehow. I did not have this on my bingo card that Moïse was going to be, like, the wife, was going to be charged in this, Martine. So, and who knows? I could be totally wrong about this, and maybe they're right, and she was the queen pin. You know what I mean? And that's a plot twist I was totally fucking missing in this story. But I mean, time's gonna hopefully tell. Hopefully, we can get to the bottom of this shit. We can find things out. But hey, it's a bit of a Haitian political intrigue for you to close out the day. But yeah, that's really all I have. If you'd like to help out, support the effort, I do have a Patreon, patreon.com/Isaiah News. You become a newsie today. That'd be cool. You'd be really cool if you did that. I shout you out at the top of the month. Plug a project if you like. Free ways to hit me up, isaiahnews1@gmail.com. Feel free to send feedback, ask questions, answer my questions that I have. By all means, you can do that there. You can also follow me on any of the socials, and hopefully you're subscribed to the YouTube. But on any of these platforms, on any platform you're listening to, whatever, leave a comment. You can, interact with me there. Hit the thumbs up. Love to see those. Sharing is definitely caring. But yeah, I mean, the fact that you're listening is always just, it brings joy to my heart. I really love to see those numbers and know that, hey, it's not just me reviewing my own shit. It actually is more than a little personal blog that other people are tuning in every once in a while or every time. It's crazy. I'm blushing. But just thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you so much for being a friend. And hopefully I see you soon for some more good news. I love ya. Bye-bye. Mwah.